All right, here we are. In the previous session, we've added the play button. Now we need some logic added to it. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's create a new manager here under the manager's game object and call it UI manager. Okay, perfect. So let's create a new script for that. So let's open CrowdRunner scripts and let's create a new UI manager. Perfect. Let's attach this script to our brand new UI manager game object and open it. Nice. Now we want to create a new method. It's going to be a public method, void play button pressed. Okay, so let's do that. This is the method we are going to attach to our play button to detect any press of the button. And in this method, we're going to say game manager dot instance to call the instance of the game manager dot set game state, and we're going to set the game state whenever we press the play button. Okay, perfect. So now let's attach this method to our button. And to do so, you need to select the play button and under the button component, the onClick Unity event here, let's click on plus to add a callback to this event and drag and drop the UI manager right here. Now you can select any function from the UI manager component. Let's select the play button pressed we've just created. Okay, so to debug this, let's open the game manager, right so, and add a new debug.log method to be able to see stuff in the console. So let's say game state changed to plus let's say game state. All right, so now let's get back to Unity. Select the console, clear it, and hit play. Now, whenever we press the play button, it says the game state has changed to game, which is perfect for us. This is exactly what we want. So now we just need to add some logic to our player to allow it to start running whenever we press the play button and not before. So let's open our player. In the player controller script, we're going to add a small boolean here for the control, or in the settings. I think it's better. So let's create a new boolean and let's call it can move. Okay, perfect. Now we need to add two more methods, and they can be private, and let's call them start moving and stop moving. Okay, perfect. In the start moving method, we want to allow our player to move. So we can say can move equals true. And in the stop moving, we can say can move equals false. Perfect. So note that if you don't specifically say that can move equals true at the beginning, when it's created, it's going to be false. So right now, our can move boolean is false whenever we start the game. Okay, perfect. Then we want to allow our player to move only if the can move is equals to true. Otherwise, we don't want our player to move or to be able to control it. Perfect. So when are we going to start moving then? In the start method, we can subscribe to our game manager event, if you remember well. Here the game manager sends an event to whoever wants to listen. So the player controller wants to listen to that. So we're going to say game manager dot on game state changed plus equals to subscribe to this event. Let's say game manager, no, let's say game state changed callback. And we are going to create this method to be able to apply some logic whenever the game state changed. So let's say private void game state changed callback, and it's going to take a game manager dot game state as an argument. Perfect. So in this method, we want to check if the new game state is the game state. So if game state equals game, then we want to start moving. Nice. And that's it, guys. Let's get back to Unity. Hit play. And now the player shouldn't be moving. The runners are playing the run animation, but we will fix this later too. Okay, so let's hit play now, right here. And now we can see that the player is moving. That's perfect. Now when hitting the finish line, it should come back to the start. All right, and it's not moving. Okay, cool. So the next thing we want to do here is to hide the menu panel whenever we press play. So we can do that by opening the UI Manager script and adding here, let's say elements, again, serialize field. Now you're used to it. Let's set a new game object and let's set a reference to our menu panel. Okay. Whenever we press the play button, we also want to hide our menu panel. So to do so, we just say menu panel.setActive false to disable the whole game object. All right, let's check that. So first off, we need to specify the menu panel here in the inspector. So let's grab the menu panel and drop it here. Hit play. Now we can try and press the play button. And we can see that the menu panel has been disabled. Perfect. You can imagine that we will want to show the game panel next when hiding the menu panel. All right, let's just quickly fix the runners running. Okay, to do so, we are first going to open the animator tab right here. All right, let's rename these animations. So select the running animation and call it run. It's going to be simpler like that. Let's select the idle animation now and call it idle. Okay. Now we want to set our idle animation as the default layer state. So like so, we just right click and select it. Now when we hit play, the runners should be idle. Okay. But when we hit play again, they are not running. So we need to tell them to start running whenever we press the play button. To do so, let's create a new small script and let's call it player animator. This script will be in charge of animating the runners whenever one is added or removed or we press the play button. So let's attach it to our player again. Let's drag and drop it. Cool. And in the player controller script right here, let's add a reference to it. So we can say serialize field private player animator. Perfect. And whenever we start moving here, we can say player animator dot start or just run. Okay. And when we stop moving, we can say player animator dot idle. And we are going to add these two methods in the player animator script right now. So let's create them. Public void run and public void idle. Okay, cool. Now we need a reference to all of our runners. So let's create a reference to the runner's parent. It's going to be simpler. Okay, so elements, again, serialized field, private transform, runner's parent. Cool. We now have a reference to our runner's parent. What do we want to do next? We want to create a loop going from 0 to the length of the amount of runners we've got. So runner's parent.child count. And we want to grab this runner. So let's say transform runner equals runner's parent dot get child I. Okay, perfect. Now we want the animator component of this runner. So let's say animator runner animator equals runner dot get component animator. By doing so, we are going to get the runner's parent and loop through all the runners, get each and every animator, and now we want to set the current animation to be the run animation. Okay, so first off, let me just drag the runner's parent and drop it here. Perfect. So now we just want to say runner animator dot play run. Perfect. And same thing for the idle animation. So let's drag this, drop it here, and just change the animation to idle. Okay, let's try this out. We need to specify our player animator in our player control script now. Okay, let's hit play. So now the runners are idle, and whenever we hit play, they start running. Perfect, this is exactly what we want. In the next session, we are going to add a progress bar at the top of the screen just to give a small hint to the player for him to know if he's close to the finish line or not. Let's go.